Hi, everybody. This is Bill with NotaryCoach.com and the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community. Today, we get to talk about a super exciting topic, accounting and tax efficiency. I know it gets kind of a bad rap sometimes, but your tax efficiency in your business can really make or break this business and any business. But I think one of the biggest challenges that we have as mobile notaries and loan signing agents is finding people who are willing or able to talk about what the tax situation looks like for notaries. And there's some good reasons for that because there's a lot of different variables that come into play. So before we get into it, let me give you the standard disclaimer. I am not a tax professional. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. So I'm just going to show you some guidelines and give you some resources. And then I encourage you, as part of your team, to really find a tax advisor that understands the notary business or service-based business. And I'm going to give you a link to an IRS code that all of your tax advisors should absolutely have as well. So let's take a look at really just kind of a 30,000-foot view here. As a mobile notary and loan signing agent, this is a legit business. And as part of that big perk, one of the big reasons that a lot of people like to be self-employed or have an LLC or even a C corporation is the tax benefits. One of the perks is that you get your money before you have to pay taxes on it. See, as an employee, you don't get your money until the taxes are paid, but it's the exact opposite when you're self-employed. So we get that money, and then we get to decide and determine what the expenses are based on guidelines, and then we pay our taxes based on that. So that's a huge advantage to being self-employed. So I encourage you to really optimize that and become a really good tax-efficient business. But what does that look like? So first, there's basically two main ways or two major tips I'm going to give you right now so you can start improving your tax efficiency and perhaps lowering your tax responsibility. Now, that said, not every situation is going to demand lower taxation. Sometimes there's a trade-off. Like if you ever decide that you're going to go and buy a home or even buy a car, if you write off all of your income, it can make that a challenge, to say the least. So this doesn't apply to everybody. Just because we have some tax advantages doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to use them. That's why I still highly encourage you guys to find a tax advisor that knows your specific situation. All of that said, let's dive in. So first thing you want to do is start tracking all of your expenses. Even the stuff that you wouldn't necessarily think in your head, oh, that's definitely a tax deduction. You know, as a mobile notary and loan signing agent, we have some that are very obvious. We have paper, we have pens, we have fuel. Maybe we can write off the mileage on our car. Maybe we can write off the depreciation on the vehicle, rubber stamps, notary journals, maybe some clothing. And then we can get a little more creative too. There's sections of your home. If you use it as a home office, that might be able to be tax deductible as well. So you want to start tracking all of that right away. And that's really a huge point, guys. The time for tax planning is not April 14th. It's right now. Right this minute, start being a better bookkeeper, better accountant. If you can't do it, there's software out there. In fact, part of what's sparking this conversation are these amazing trainings that I did with Sue Hope over at NotaryAssist and Steve Bjorkman over at NotaryGadget. I've gotten some amazing feedback from you guys, and I know that there's some of these questions out there. And we're very blessed to have software that can help us. It's built and custom built and designed just for the notary business, so that's a great start. On top of that, you can get some additional advice as well. But start tracking all of your expenses. Save your receipts, get a business account or a business credit card or something that makes tracking those expenses easier. And then the second one is the huge one. And this is a relatively unknown or hidden gem within the IRS publications. It is IRS Publication 334, and it specifically speaks to notaries and other industries as well, but there's a section right in there that talks about notaries, and it says that fees that you receive as a notary public for services you perform as a notary public are reported on Schedule C or CEZ. These payments are not subject to the self-employment tax. And if you're not familiar with what self-employment tax is, it's huge, and it's basically what a single person, self-employed or independent contractor has to pay because they're not paying into Social Security and Medicare. So that's just one of the taxes that they put on it. But as a notary public, your fee that you charge for the actual notary services might be exempt for that. And that, if you're out there hustling and you're really growing a business, that could be upwards of thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, it sparked an amendment on my own tax return. So I'm working with my tax guy to go back and look at those too, just to make sure I'm totally efficient in my taxes. Now, what that really looks like on a practical level, guys, like if you're doing general notary work, sure, that kind of makes sense. If you're in a state where, let's say, your maximum fee is $10 and you go out and you charge somebody $50 because there's mileage and all that good stuff, that maybe 10 or 20, however many notarizations were involved in that might be tax exempt. But where it really comes into play is on the loan signing side. You know, let's say you do have a maximum state notary fee of $10, but you do a loan signing for $100, but there's 12 notarizations in that loan signing. So 12 documents that actually had to be notarized. 10 times 12 is 120, and you're only getting paid 100. So there's a very good chance that all of that income might be tax exempt from the self-employment tax. So, and then of course, if there was only 5 notarizations, then $50 of that 100 might be exempt from the self-employment tax. So again, you want to make sure that you get the right tax advice for your particular situation. But even my CPA was not aware of IRS Publication 334. So I put a link down below so you can actually reference that, do your own research, do your own due diligence, but implementing the tracking of all of your expenses, and then also knowing about the Publication 334 will help you continue to track those. And what's cool is both of these software programs that we learned about, NotaryAssist and NotaryGadget, they both have a built-in mechanism for tracking the number of notarizations in each of your loan signing appointments. So I put a link down there too. So if you ever want to check in on those individual trainings, I kind of put them all both in one place so you can take a look and get more familiar with that. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope everything goes great. Happy tax efficiency. I'll catch you later this week.